welcome back to B&B Studios, where Berner and Barthy will talk all things happening in the Central Coast Rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Barthy here. Thought I'd start the show a little bit differently. Had a few complaints coming into the podcast. They're sick of listening to Berner say the same thing week in, week out. So I thought I'd open the show by saying the same thing Berner does. Welcome to the B&B podcast. Welcome back to another fantastic episode. Berner, how's your week been, pal?
Week's been awesome, mate. Mother's Day on Sunday, so obviously awesome to celebrate the great mums that are in our lives. Obviously the great mums around the Central Coast as well. So, yeah, it's been a good week, mate. How's your week been?
Yeah, mate. Week's been really good. Same. All the love to the mothers out there. It's a very important part of the rugby community are our mothers. So Sunday was a great day. Saw some outstanding results in the rugby on the Saturday, which is great. We'll cover off those shortly, thanks to Gus and the team at Erins Podiatry. But Berner, you had an interesting story you were going to tell me a bit earlier on, or we hold that off for the end of the show. How are we going? How do you want to approach your story, pal?
I think we hold that off to the end of the show because I'm not too sure what you're talking about right now, but you can give me some hints as we go through. Let's get on to the results of the round. Thanks to Gus and the team at Erins Podiatry. We'll start off with the women's. 3 games on the weekend where we had the bye. Avoca beat Razorbacks 42 points to 12. So played, actually, I don't know where this game was played. I'm about to say it's played at the Pigpen, but no, it was played at the Razorbacks' second home of Gosford Rugby Field. 42 points to 12, mate. 6 tries by the Avoca beat Sharks. 6 conversions, which is a very un-Avoca-like conversion rate there when you make the game.
Mate, I make the game. I make out Jada Staben kicking four conversions. She's the key. She's the key to the Avoca beat Sharks, one might think. But I think it's a really good result here. And what I mean by that is I think it's actually a really good result for the Razorback women. They've struggled over the last few years to put in a competitive performance for the full 80 minutes. And whilst 42 to 12 seems like a pretty convincing victory, the Avoca beat side, they're the best team in the competition. They're the current title holders, and they're absolutely flying at the moment. And for the Razorback women to score a couple of tries and put in a performance like that in the years gone by, that could have been a halftime score. So I think congratulations to the Razorback women. They're on their up, but obviously it needed to be a solid performance by the Avoca beat Sharks. 6 tries to 2, and as you said, 6 conversions. So there's 12 points that they haven't really gotten regularly, the Avoca Beach side. So good game, good result. Congratulations, women, on a good, solid performance.
Second game, the Lakes hosted Terrigal. Terrigal ran out winners 45 points to 19. I sort of feel the same as this as you just described, that a close game, even though it's 45 points. In the recent weeks, I think the Lakes have, they've kind of been the team on the up, but also you weren't too sure how they're going to go on these score lines with such a class side that Terrigal has, that it can sort of blow out. So what do you make of this?
Mate, a really tight match. Again, don't look into the score too much. 19 points to 45. The scoreline was ridiculously tight at halftime, but the Terrigal Trojans women's side, run away with it in the end. And again, we touched on it last week, and I think it's a real evidence of the strength of the Terrigal Trojans women is that we had 7 tries scored by the Terrigal side, and they were scored by 6 different women. That's an amazing performance. And
but what you're saying in there is there was a duple scored by somebody. Is that what you're saying?
There was a duple there. Before we get onto the duple, just want to give a good shout out to those Lakes women because they are absolutely on the rise. And I think both the Razorbacks and the Lakes have put in a good, strong performance. And I think there's a really good learning opportunity by both women teams here, knowing that we've still got 3/4 of the season to go. And they're going to know exactly what they need to do to knock off those 2 benchmark sides in the Terrigal Trojans and the Avoca Beach women. So outstanding performance by Terrigal. Ruthless performance, obviously having to play the entire 80 minutes to get those final few tries to run away with it in the end. And we know that's what they're capable of. So, Terrigal Trojan women, outstanding performance. And a duple by who else, Berner?
Emily Lufay. The favourite player of the podcast, Emily Lufay, the captain coach of the Beam mispronounced 15. Well done, Emily. Last game of the women's. Hornsby, we said they needed a win. They need to travel. They need to win against Warnervale, and they do it convincingly. The Nalas get their first win of the season, second win of the season, I believe.
First win of the season, pal. First win. They're back.
That's right. None from 3. 36 points to 5. Callie Morris, absolute superstar, scores a hat trick. They're back, mate. The Nalas are back.
Yeah, look out. The competition, here they come. Where they've been very much subpar performances by the Nalas over the last 3 to 4 weeks, which we've spoken about at length. And this is more of an indication of that side that we know. So things are looking up for the Nala women, and let's see if they can do it again next week. So some outstanding results, good quality rugby, as always, played by the fantastic women of the Central Coast.
I'll just go over the points table quickly. In first place is the Trojans, 25 points. Avoca, second place on 25 points as well. The Trojans have a plus 256 differential. Avoca have 203. That's the only thing separating those two. Razorbacks are into third spot on 16 points. The Lakes into fourth spot on 12 points. Warnervale sit in fifth on 10 points. Hornsby in 6 on 5 points. And Woy Woy sit last on 1 point. Now, over to the men's.
Some great performances here.
Yeah. I mean, the first one, the interesting one, was sort of the battle of the early season spoon, which was Woy Woy against the Lakes, and it was an absolute landslide to Woy Woy. Obviously, I think both teams have struggled to travel this year, so obviously a bit of an advantage at being played at home for Woy Woy, but they've had a bit of a turnaround in the last couple of weeks with, considering the thrashings that they've got previously. So they run out winners 70 points to 3. What'd you make of this, mate?
10 tries, 10 conversions, and further evidence of we don't know what the hell is going on in the Woy Woy Rugby Club. And, mate, you get beaten by 100 points last week, and then you turn around and you beat a team by 70 points the following week. Mate, who knows?
I told you, mate, they're either going to fold or they're going to win the comp, one of the two. you just
don't know. Last week and they're winning this week.
But I know there are some people working really hard at the club, and it's such a fragile situation of they've obviously got some weapons that are coming to play for them, but obviously trying to build that culture within a club, which is hard when you've got really a new club and trying to build that new identity as well. But hey, a 70 points to 3 victory is a good way to do that. There's a core group of players that's really trying to drive that as well. So good win there by Woy Woy. Obviously, I'm going to say it's a bit worrying for Lake Macquarie, Barthy, but I think you're going to come up with me with some stats because they're improving again.
Well, absolutely, they're improving again. There's no doubt about that. We spoke about their defensive improvement, improving by 16%, I think it was last week. Well, that improvement continues. On last week's performances, their defensive effort and structure has improved by somewhere in the vicinity of 22.5%, which is outstanding. And I still stand by my call that on the current statistical growth by the Lake Macquarie Roos, they will be in the top 4 in the next few weeks.
Well done, mate. Good analysis. Second game, Terrigal. This is something we sort of touched on it, but didn't know if it would sort of happen. But Terrigal run out resounding winners over the Lakes, 52 points to 5. This was a thumping considering just 2 years ago we had this as our grand final. And Terrigal, just winning at the death for this. So that's, Terrigal are just smashing it this year. So huge win over the Lakes there for the Trojans.
Yeah, problems and concerns for the Lakes. They're stringing together another extremely slow start to the year. I know there's been a few sort of retirements or players looking to, I guess, have a little bit of time away or which can be well deserved, and sometimes players need to have a break. But at the moment, the club is struggling, and the performance there would indicate 8 tries to 1. It's certainly not a Lakes performance that we've seen and been used to. But I think they will continue to progress. They'll continue to grow. But I think they need to start stringing together some better performances than what they did on Saturday. Take nothing away from the Terrigal Trojans side. We've waxed lyrical for quite some time about how good a rugby side they are. And there's just further proof. They're just grinding away teams. 8 tries to 1, as I said, 6 conversions. A good all-round performances. Again, we've got multiple try scorers. Further evidence that what's happening at that Terrigal Trojans Rugby Club about the expanse and using all players and in all different positions in a completed game is clear and evident from both their women's and their first grade side. So an outstanding performance by the Terrigal Trojans.
Yeah, they're absolutely awesome at the moment. And then the other game, Warnervale beats Hornsby 58 points to 20. So a huge win here for Warnervale, 10 tries to 2. Warnervale on the up as well, mate. This is really pleasing stuff because Warnervale really has been that sleeping giant in terms of the demographics of being up north and I suppose the league area as well. Like, how has Warnervale not done as good as they could have in previous years? And this is the year that you kind of look at them and go, they're playing awesome, but also, as you touched on off the field last week, their culture is obviously amazing as well. So Warnervale on the absolute up and absolutely killing it. But a huge win on the weekend, 58 points to 20.
Absolutely, mate. My Wildcats, they're going outstandingly well, as I knew they would, and as I've said from the start. So, yeah, great stuff, good performance, and like we spoke about, and you just touched on then, having raps coming through last week from their opponents are saying what a great club they are. Good things like that come and results follow, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So, yeah, absolutely, pal. Outstanding result by the Wildcats. Hornsby are a competitive outfit too. We've spoken about that previously. They're no easy beats, and for Warnervale to put 58 points on them, that's an outstanding performance considering the undefeated Avoca Beach side, I think 32 points to 14 or something along those lines a few weeks prior. So strong performance by the Wildcats.
And last game, mate, this was the match of the round, the battle for Carryong, the Brown Thompson Shield. The Carry-On Cup / the Brown Thompson Shield. Is that, I got that right? It has been changed, has it?
They threw the Brown Thompson Shield in the bin. They started the Carry-On Cup, and that's what I'll be known from here on in. And no
congratulations to the race. Well, there's a couple of things that was won.
Well, hang on, I just need to clear up. No disrespect intended for the Brown Thompson, Brownie and Larry, but unfortunately, your time's up. Your time's up, and it's the Carry-On Cup.
Yeah, you're playing for territory as well. It's a good part of the Central Coast. You want up there in the mountains. So the Razorbacks get the win there, 21 points to 17. 2 tries apiece. Geordie Clark and James Blanche scoring for the Razorbacks. Ben Shelley, who's playing outstanding, continuing his form from last year, and William Sharp scoring for the Red Devils. 2 conversions and a penalty for the Red Devils, and 3 penalties and a conversion for the Razorbacks, and that was it. Razorbacks get the win by 4 points. This game could have gone either way. All reports suggest it was just neck and neck, and it was Razorbacks that got away with it in the end and won the close one. This is such an important game, to these victories, because these 2 teams are obviously going to be there in the finals. To get that win here is huge.
Well, the simple fact is the discipline was the difference between the 2 sides. 2 penalties being 2 extra penalties kicked by the Razorback side was basically the difference. 2 tries apiece, outstanding performance. The Red Devils continue on with their brilliant 2023 season. And, mate, that Razorback side, that's a bloody good side. It's a strong side. It's last year's grand finalists. They went within a whisker of winning the competition. They've been strengthened by, obviously, some carry-on players coming down. So have Gosford, mind you, but what a cracking performance. And I saw on the Central Coast Rugby socials the try of the week that Blanchy scored, which was an absolute cracker. So what a game. What an absolutely cracking game, and great to see.
The other thing that they won, and this excites me, the Razorbacks got their hands on the Golden Schooner again. And now, I know this isn't the place for it for the results of the round, but here's my point. I haven't really heard too much about the Golden Schooner. I know Carryong had it, then Gosford's got it at the start of the year. But the reason I love the Razorbacks having it is because it is posted all around the socials. And that's the best part, is that they're sharing everything. I do not care how arrogant they are with it. I love it. I love the post by it. I love Geordie throwing everything up there. I want the Razorbacks. They call it theirs, and it's obviously come home to the Razorbacks. I know Jake McPhee has issues with that. Obviously, he's the creator of the Golden Schooner, but they've got to work hard to get it back. So I'm glad that the Razorbacks have got it, because I love how much they showcase it. So I'm all for that.
The brilliant thing about it is, Power, that I love the fact that you brought it up, because guess what? This week, exterior cleaning. Exquisite exterior clean up of the week.
Exquisite cleanup of the week. What is it, mate? I want to get the little profile up that makes us look horrible. There we go. You can read that if you want, mate.
The Exquisite exterior cleanup of the week. It goes to the Gosford Red Devils, getting absolutely mopped up by the Razorbacks in the Golden Schooner race and handing that over. So it is our exquisite exterior cleaning up of the week. So well done to the Red Devils for getting bashed up in
cleaned up. I thought you were about to say the game there. I'm like, mate, 4 points is harsh. Very harsh. But no, and it's going to be hard to beat the Razorbacks this year in the Golden Schooner as well. Formidable boat race side. Onto the ladder. So 9 teams in the competition. Terrigal currently first place on 20 points. Avoca second place on 19. Razorbacks third on 19. Gosford in fourth on 15. Warnervale fifth on 14. Woy Woy sixth place on 6 points. Hornsby seventh place on 4 points. Lakes are eighth with 1 point, and Lake Macquarie are ninth with 0. So the current top 5 are Terrigal, Avoca, Razorbacks, Gosford, Warnervale. And that's sort of where we think that they're probably going to sit with the season shaping up. And the difference between Warnervale in 5th spot and Woy Woy in 6th at the moment is 8 points. So a bit of a jump there. So, we'll see if that, suppose, top 5 and the bottom 4, that obviously pushes away as the season continues. Lakes looking at that from what we predicted at the start of the year. We're obviously expecting Lakes to be up there, and we're sort of tossing, who kind of takes the 5th spot and everything. So, Lakes 5 games, 5 losses. That's probably the shock of everything for me. Everything else probably sits where we thought.
Interesting times ahead, pal. Interesting times. Everyone's nearly seen how everyone plays. They've nearly gone through the round once. We've still got a couple of rounds to go. Nearly played each other once, I should say. But I think at this point in time, just to echo your thoughts there, I think we're starting to see a settling of the competition. I think we'll see a few upsets from time to time, especially I'll throw out there that Woy Woy side. Depends on which Woy Woy side shows up. I think they've got the ability to really trouble some of those top 4 sides. But time will tell, pal. Time will tell.
Okay, well,
a couple of shout-outs this week. What do we got? Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. What are we going to throw to then?
A little bit. I just want to kind of preview the rugby ahead before you go any further to the shout-outs. Is that all right?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, we've got a couple of games this Saturday, so I just wanted to talk about them. I think people are probably, listening in just to sort of see what rugby's on this weekend. Well, we can change up the segment if you want to do the thing we do last in the middle. That's completely fine. Happy with that.
I was going to shout out to a couple of people who've done outstanding performances, but unfortunately, you don't want to hear about it. So let's get on the preview of the week, shall we?
Let's do the preview of the week. You can do that business later on. First game, mate. Hornsby host the Razorbacks. So we'll start with the women's.
Hornsby hosting the Razorbacks.
Do you remember the nappy that Carrong used to have for shit in the bed? That's you. That's you right now. All right. So Hornsby hosting the Razorbacks women's at Mark Taylor Oval. So this is probably going to be the match of the round, I think. Hornsby and Razorbacks. Obviously, both teams building this year. Hornsby with their first win on the weekend. Razorbacks currently sitting in 3rd spot as well. So with 6 games, 3 wins. So both teams building. How do you see this one?
I see it very, very difficult to pick. My immediate thought and reaction is to go the Razorbacks. But when I stop and think about it, I think, man, if the Nalas are back, if that Hornsby women's side are back, then they're every chance. Is one game enough? Is one game enough to get on? Because they have been poor for Nala standards in the first 3 to 4 rounds. They obviously come back and got a good win, and congratulations to all the women last week. Is it enough to shake up and beat the Razorbacks? I don't know. I think it's a really tough game to pick, and it's a flip of the coin stuff. It's down at home. It's at the Rock.
Well, it's the pillow now, isn't it?
Yeah, the big pillow. I'm going to go the Razorback women. think it's a little bit more momentum.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a cracker of a game. Yeah, I think this is going to be a cracker of a game. I'm only going Hornsby, considering they had a really good win last week away, and then they're at home this week. Whereas Razorbacks, they had a good performance last week, but now they're having to travel away. So I'm going to go the Hornsby women to get the win in a very tight one. Any result wouldn't surprise me at all. That's going to be a great game. Second game, format. I go forward if I could have the bye. Terrigal hosting Woy Woy. How do you see this one going, and by how much?
I think the Woy Woy women's side are a little bit like the men's in some regard. And so sometimes it depends on who shows up. And if all those Woy Woy women who are, I guess, put their name down and registered to play, and a lot of players who played elsewhere came back this year, they're a competitive women's side. I think their performances have been far too inconsistent throughout the year so far, and that Terrigal Trojan side is just fantastic. They're a dynamic and very strong rugby team, and they will put a lot of points on the Woy women. And I think it's going to be an extremely tough day on the rugby pitch for the Woy women. So Terrigal by plenty for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I just hope it's not 28-0. I just don't want to see that. Last game, the Battle of the North. Wangara Sportsfield, number 1. Warnervale host the Lakes. Wildcats host the Lakes. How do you see this one going?
Local derby, mate. I think it's going to be a cracker, absolute cracker. I'm backing my Lakes women in for a victory. They've been playing some good passage of rugby, and they're in a purple patch of form, and they're developing their game really well. I think the poor old Wildcat women are a little bit lost in how they play the game. It's a little bit one-dimensional for mine and for what I've seen so far. So I think the increasing all-round performances by the Lakes women will see them earn a victory in the Battle of the North. So Lakes women for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. This might be the return of Danielle Theron as well, back to Warnervale. This might be the first game I think they've had against each other, if I got that right. So it'll be a big occasion. Obviously a weapon player from Warnervale now playing for the Lakes. So yeah, I'm with you on that one, mate. I think Lakes.
She might be back in Warnervale. I'm not sure. Danielle, get a hold of us here at the podcast. We can't remember. Revolving doors. Someone tell us what's going on. Danielle, where are you? Where are you playing?
Lakes for me. So again, Hornsby hosts the Razorbacks, Terrigal hosts Woy Woy, and Warnervale hosts the Lakes. On to the men's games. Okay. Terrigal hosting Woy Woy. Both teams had very convincing wins last week. Terrigal played away from home. Woy Woy played at home. How do you see this one going, mate?
Well, it depends on which Woy Woy side shows up. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think we might get used to hearing it for the rest of the year. Time will tell. If the best Woy Woy side they have show up, I think they'll be a competitive outfit. Will they be good enough to beat the Terrigal Trojans at home? Absolutely not. Terrigal Trojans are clearly the benchmark side in the competition. Both of them, I think it's both only Terrigal and Avoca Beach are the only 2 undefeated sides so far, and they haven't yet met to play. So Terrigal Trojans will win this match, I believe, and I think it could be an extremely difficult day for Woy, depending on the side they bring up, because they are going to cop a tough game for 80 minutes from sideline to sideline through the centre. It'll be an all-round performance by the Terrigal Trojans, and they'll win convincingly.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think a problem for Woy Woy is you've got a lot of players that work on a Saturday, and if you're playing a game that is not on a train line, very hard to get to. So I think that's legitimately going to be a factor as well. So I think Terrigal and Terrigal by a bit for this game. But I think Woy Woy on the up at exactly what you said. Any team can show up, and it's definitely surprising if Woy Woy get a victory on the weekend. Given previous results, but they've also got the team that can really shake as well if they have everybody on the park. Second game, mate, Hornsby host the Razorbacks. Mark Taylor Oval.
Yeah. Well, everything's working in Hornsby's favour here. They've had a bit of a difficult start. They've been competitive, but results haven't gone their way. Excuse me. But choking. Oh, pardon me.
They haven't gone that bad, have they, mate? You have to do the whole choke. You have to do the whole choking action.
I'm watering up too. I'm tearing up, a bit emotional. I think everything's working in the for the Hornsby's favour to put in the best performance they possibly can. Will be enough to beat the Razorbacks. I think it's a good opportunity for the Hornsby Lions to play them. Razorbacks will be coming off a highly emotional game against the Red Devils last week. A good tight and a rough, and a game that will have taken some out of the Razorbacks, out of their batteries, out of their tanks. So good chance and a really good opportunity for the Hornsby men to knock off the Razorbacks. I think it'll be a really tight affair. I think the Razorbacks have too much class across the board, and their performances have been too consistent so far this year. So I think Razorbacks will win. It'll be a tight match, I believe, and I think the Razorbacks will still be too good.
Yeah, I think Razorbacks. I actually think the Razorbacks win well in this one. I'm going to tip them for a big victory for this one. I just think for some reason, I feel they perform really well when they go to Hornsby. I'm not backing. That's just completely off something. It's in the back of my head that says Razorbacks go well, not based on anything at all. So I'm actually tipping a big win for the Razorbacks on the weekend. Over Hornsby. Hornsby, haven't been as impressive to sort of start the year. And I think Razorbacks have had obviously a shock victory to Terrigal. Absolutely blown off the park in the first half. So I think that from there, I think they're going to build and look forward to that rematch again. Do want to point out Lake Macquarie had the bye, Barthy. So they get a chance to a couple of wounds there. And then 2 more games. Avoca hosting Gosford. This is going to be a cracker because Gosford got their first taste of really a top sort of 3 side on the weekend. Obviously did awesome and, got within, considering where they were last year, Gosford obviously incredibly improved and in finals, finals bound, we think, so far in the season. They're up against the Avoca, who have been absolutely red hot this year. Avoca and Terrigal, clearly the 2 teams that are, to beat so far. And they've been clinical, not just better than teams, but when they've had to put teams away or put teams to the sword, they have put teams to the sword. So I'm really excited for this game. How do you see it going?
Avoca are coming off a bye. They've had an opportunity to get themselves freshened up for the match. I think they're going to need to be freshened for the match. I think Gosford are a far, as we've said, they're a much improved side from last year. To be honest, I think the key for the Avoca Beach side here is selections, and they have been a really strong team by their selections that they made earlier on in the season. And I think that if they continue to be brave in those selections and who they play, I think they can. I think they'll win the match. I really do. But I think the Gosford side are a team that you can't underestimate. I think they are an absolute red hot chance for challenging the top 2 or 3 positions at the moment. They really are. And I think it's going to be a really tough game for the Avoca Beach side. They should win. They haven't lost a game all year. They've got the players and they've got the potential for a better balanced side, I believe. And I think Avoca Beach will win if they pick the correct side, if that makes sense.
Yep. I'm going to go with Avoca on this one. I think they're going to be a little bit too strong for Gosford earlier on, just from what I've seen. But I think this is going to be a cracking game. This is what I think the match of the round. That's the match of the round for me. Is that match?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Always, what we've got to end on is the battle.
Who's hosting?
The battle
sorry,
of the
mate?
North. Avoca is hosting. Avoca's hosting Gosford.
Okay. Yeah.
Battle of the North.
It is
the battle for Scotty Moroney. Warnervale hosting the Lakes. Warnervale on an absolute heater at the moment. The Lakes struggling. In previous years, it has been the Lakes that has usually dominated this contest. It's been tight, but it's been the Lakes have been the dominant side out of the 2. That looks to flip on its head this year with Warnervale absolutely killing it at the moment. So how do you see this game going, mate?
To this game going in one way and one way only, and that is my Wildcats. They're just playing too good a rugby at the moment, and the Lakes are a million miles away from the performances that we know they're capable of. And at this point in time, I've seen nothing to indicate otherwise. So the Wildcats for me, I think will win this match, and I'll probably win it I'll say between 10 to 15 points.
I think you're being generous there. I think it's a good win to Warnervale this weekend. I think this is a dominant performance from Warnervale. At home, obviously, I think it's a big weekend for them and something that they would have circled in the calendar. And I think this is a big occasion for them. So I think Warnervale will win this well in this one, which I never thought I'd say in this Battle of the North. But Lakes have, 0 from 5. It's a very poor start to the season. And again, that's on the back of those tight losses that they had early on when we said we started this way last year and they just kind of couldn't get there. So I hope they turned around this week, but everything indicates that it's going to be a good win for Warnervale this weekend. So that's the game. So again, Terrigal hosting Woi Woi, Hornsby hosting the Razorbacks, Avoca hosting Gosford, and Warnervale hosting the Lakes. Well, mate, I think it's time we do some shout-outs. What do you think?
Yeah, let's mix it up a bit. We'll do some now, shall we?
We'll do some now. I'll throw it over to you, and you can lead the segment if you want, mate.
I want to give a shout out to the Orange City Club out there in the Central West Division. Orange City beat the Orange Emus in the local derby. It's the first time in I think 8 years that they have beaten the Emus in the local derby down there or out there. It's also been the club's 50th anniversary. So a big shout out to the Orange City Rugby Club. They are avid listeners to the podcast, believe it or not. And a special shout out to Jesse Pavlovich, who's got a hold of us as well to inform us of that information. So outstanding stuff by Orange City. Keep it up, boys and girls. Go well.
Some milestones, mate. Braden Mead, 100 games for the Razorback. 100 first grade games, I think. I don't know if I read that right, but 100 games anyway. So it's 100 games. Well done, Braden. And the other one, referee milestones, Dave Hall, 250 games. Outstanding effort. Again, I take my hat off to all referees that want to put up with the rubbish that players are willing to dish out, but I think the conditions are much better than they were a long time ago. So Dave Hall, 250 games, absolutely outstanding, mate. You got anything?
Yeah, I was going to say, whilst we're giving shout-outs to referees, I want to give a big shout-out to Lola Rose. She AR'd her first Premier 1 match on the weekend, so big congratulations to Lola, and outstanding performance by her. And we actually touched on it at the Sevens by the Sea up at the Lakes. What an outstanding job she was doing with the whistle. And that obviously has continued on, and it's been rewarded by her consistent performances have been rewarded with promotion up into the Premier 1 with the assistant refereeing role. So big ups and congratulations to Lola Rose. And whilst we're talking that up, a big up and congratulations to all the referees at Central Coast Referees. They are doing a great job and obviously bringing up and developing young talent. So outstanding effort.
Yeah. And it's good that Lola Rose is really accepted by the community as well. It's obviously, it's tough being a referee in some cases, but there's so much support for him now because everyone realizes, we need them so much in our games. So, and I think it's awesome that we're celebrating referees. I don't know how many times we've done that. I remember Tony Fury for his 700th or whatever it was.
700.
Yeah, 700 games.
Tony Fury had refereed 700 games when he refereed me 30 years ago.
Maybe it was 7,000. Maybe we just we missed the zero. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember Tony, 700. Tony,
Tony, who's listening, he knows it's true too.
We had it was Woi Woi Carryong there, and I remember having the tunnel on for him. Obviously, huge occasion, and for that, and it was the first time that we sort of celebrated a referee. It was the first time I thought, why don't we celebrate these guys? They would have milestones, obviously 100, 200, 300, that sort of stuff. But I think it's obviously a thing that you don't think about as much, or I didn't anyway as a player, back then. But I think it's really good that we can showcase them. Yeah, nothing to add, sweet. All good. No, I'll just.
I was going to say that doesn't surprise me, Bernard.
Yeah, not at all.
Anyway,
is there anything else, mate? We got anything?
No, mate. No, I've fumbled my way through this, and apologies to our listeners. Actually, whilst we're apologising to listeners, we've been having some massive audio issues this year, mainly due to I guess the difficult circumstance we've been recording in, week out. Obviously, we can't sit side by side in the studio as we've done in previous years, which has been a lot easier for us both. And so things haven't been overly easy for this to continue on, but we've been doing it because we love it, and we really love the support that you guys give us, and obviously the community. So, apologise for I guess the dip in the quality. That's the quality of the audio. There's no apologies for the
Now we've got to
quality.
apologise for the dip in the content.
And with that, look, it really has been difficult to get people on. Obviously, when we can't be in the same studio together, sometimes we're not even in the same state. It does make it difficult to arrange guests to come on and those sorts of things. So, thanks for sticking with us. We will continue to dribble on and do our best because we love it and we love the Central Coast game. So.
And also, we did promise last week to get Carl on. So just given the circumstances so people know what we're working with, we had to message Carl. He's still at training at the moment. So we're recording during training with Gosford. So we've messaged him. We said, here's the link. Jump on at any time. So all throughout the podcast, he could have jumped on at any moment. We've had to stop and do our interview with him. That's just obviously with what we're recording. But yeah, sorry, mate, add on.
No, I was going to say last week, Carl was, I think, on his way to New Zealand. He had
so that's why we couldn't get anyone. So it is a bit more difficult, but yeah, obviously, appreciate you being with us in this time that we're doing this sort of stuff. And yeah, we obviously, as always, we love engaging with everybody. So write into the socials, share as much as you possibly can. Again, I'm pumped for the Razorbacks to have the Golden Schooner because I want them to showcase that thing like it is the Premiership trophy. Go nuts with it, Razorbacks. Happy
want to see more women involved too, please.
Yes, that's a good one. They'd have a few good drinkers there, I reckon, as well. Is that it, mate?
That's it, pal. That's it.
Awesome. All right. Get down to local rugby, support the canteen, best part of it. See ya!